Tiger fans, welcome back to the Tigercast channel for another video. Today we are talking about, it's another training report / talking about the mantra and the philosophies of Adam Yze that's been put forward to the players this week, which I'm really enjoying, and I'm hoping it provides a really spark and sexy looking Richmond football side in the 2026 season. But before we get stuck into it, make sure you hit like and subscribe. We're closing in on 4,200. We appreciate all your love and support. But with that said, let's get stuck in the video. Out here, it's all in is the phrase that Yze and the coaching staff are going with, and I'm loving it. Love to hear the all-in mentality on the training track, because if it transfers to game day, we will play some really nice-looking football throughout 2026 that could be devastating to opposition teams. So I'm all for that. But today is also about a bit of a training report update, as the great man Caesar on Punt has just dropped a combined Wednesday and Friday training report, which we'll touch on shortly. But the all-in piece, I want to talk about that first. Last year, the game style, I guess we can all say, was a little bit stagnated. And I think a lot of that was to do with that they're young players, by and large. You don't have time to teach them everything you want to teach them. And Chris Fagan has said that a few times. So you can only teach them in smaller segments. So I've always viewed our game plan to be multi-layered. And last year was very much the bare bones, fundamental basics with not a hell of a lot else to it, which I think we can all see and agree with. We did occasionally see some free-flowing ball movement, and I have heard on occasions we were training the fast-moving game, but we just weren't playing it, or we weren't being asked to play it. Maybe we weren't fully equipped and ready to play it yet. Maybe the senior guys could, but the younger guys couldn't, depending on opponent. I'm not sure, but it's great to hear that it's a flat-out, all-out mentality this year that's being conveyed to the players. The players seem to be buying in. I mean, Tom Brown had an article yesterday that it's a fresh approach and they're loving it. And, you know, as a spectator, you'd much rather see these young kids take the game on and make potential mistakes by having a crack and taking off a dangerous pass or trying to burst through the packs or do whatever they're doing, than just coasting through and missing regulation targets uncontested. That's the stuff that pisses everybody off. So if they're going to go flat out and it translates from training to game, I think that's going to be a huge positive. Maybe is it enough to see us win 8 to 10 games based on our fixture? Maybe it is. And there's a lot to play out, of course, but it's a terminology and a phrase that I do genuinely get excited about, because you look at the youth on our list, the speed that we've got. I know we talked a lot about having a slow midfield last year, and we did because of the plays we had in there, but we can fix that. We've actually got the leg speed already in the side. You've got your Hugo, Ralph Smith, Taj Hotton's got speed, Sam Banks has got speed, Trezizer's got speed. Who else have we got? Seth Campbell's got speed, Morris Jr., Ryan Mansell. Like, we do have a good crop of players that have got some reasonable leg speed that can make a difference in different parts of the ground. Kane McAuliffe, another one with some speed in the midfield. Sammy Lawler, I'm not sure if I mentioned him or not, but he's got some speed. So, but we've got the wheels. We just need to get him in the right positions on the ground to make it all relevant and make it all cohesive. And we didn't do that last year, and a lot of that would have been protecting the young kids, getting them experience, getting their fitness base built up. So I can understand it. But we do need to see this shift in 2026. So I'm hoping that this all-in mantra ties into that. The only other thing I'll say about that before we go to the training report, it's one thing to go all out and play fast electric football, and it's great from the back half to the midfield. We just need to make sure the forward half are on the same page and are working cohesively to complete the transaction, because there was a few times last year, you know, the game against the Eagles, we played really well. The Gold Coast, we had some good fast football, and the Giants, but there's other times where we move it quick, but we fail at the half-forward line, and it comes back with interest. That's a bigger part of the puzzle that we need to make sure we resolve, and that's why it's going to be fascinating to see what Luke Bruce and Chris Newman can do with the forwards this year. But exciting stuff, and hopefully it translates. But onto the training report. Caesar, the absolute legend from Punt Rodan, has dropped this on the website just now. So it's a Wednesday and Friday training review combined, and I was actually talking to him a little bit about this during the week, which, yeah, some of these names mentioned and the things mentioned were pretty good. Taj Hotton, very, very lively, showing lots of tricks, which I think we all come to expect. But he's also being really engaged with Luke Bruce. I don't think we can undersell how important Luke Bruce will be for a player like Taj Houghton, for Seth Campbell, for players like that. It's going to be absolutely unbelievably good in the years to come. So good to see Taj up and about. Jasper Elga has a great vertical leap. I'm reading the notes from Caesar here just for clarity. Makes a dud pass into the forward line look good. Is moving really well and will add some much needed class in 2026. I'm with you, Caesar. You know that we're both all across Jasper Elga, and I think he's going to have a super year. Kane McAuliffe, this is the big one, Caesar says. He has quite a few admirers out there, but hasn't been able to show his wares in full, which I agree with. I think we all agree with that what we did see of Kane McAuliffe last year was great, but we just need him on the field for longer. But Caesar goes on to say, it appears he's really defined his body, which is awesome, and is prominent on the track so far. It would be a huge bonus if he could become a legit part of the midfield mix. This is an exciting one. And it was only the other night that EJ Grock and I were talking about it on one of the live shows, that if we can get 20-odd games out of Kane McAuliffe, if he's trimmed down, he adds a whole different dynamic to the midfield. He adds that pace, left footer, does the grunt work, was starting to hit the scoreboard a little bit later in the season, probably needed to fix that earlier as well. But he was getting, and I've said this multiple times, but he was getting 18 to 20 disposals off about 69% game time. So if we can get him fit and firing and get him to 75 to 80% game time, we could have another 25 disposal midfielder on our hands who adds a new dynamic to the team, which can only be a good thing. So hopefully McAuliffe gets a really clean run at it. Jonty Fall, his aerobic capacity is great, starting his first preseason minus the stress fractures. And it's easy to forget that Jonty didn't do any of the preseason last year because of his back stress fractures. And that's why I was probably a lot more amazed at what Jonty did during the season, because I didn't quite expect to see him play. What's not to like? The biggest pleasant surprise for Caesar as well last year. He couldn't believe how competitive he was, and he's going to be a beauty. Liam Fawcett, he's a specimen, an athlete, but still very much an unknown quantity. Given, and people might forget this as well, but given year one in 2024 was a write-off with glandular fever and had back injuries and concussion, broken nose and syndesmosis in 2025, it's all happening for Liam Fawcett, but he looks to have come back in really good nick, and hopefully he can cement a spot early, whether that's pre-season games, whether that's round one, whatever it looks like. I want him to put his best foot forward. Luke Traynor, looking so good in his movement today, appears to be loving getting back to halfback and running off. Does not appear to have put on much size though, might take a few seasons. I think it's good to see Luke Traynor back to halfback. Uze had always strongly hinted that they see Luke Traynor as a defender. The wing I thought worked okay, but there was no question he looked more at home and more damaging as a halfback. So good to see him back into that role, and I look forward to seeing Luke Traynor put in a really big 2026 season to back up his really solid start in 2025, to be honest. Seth Campbell, this is really interesting. Seth Campbell may be destined for a more Lambert type role, so a Kane Lambert type role. Today in the mini match sim type ball movement, he was put in the orange vest and was running back and forward pretty much through the centre and being used both ways by both teams. So maybe they view Campbell as, that two-way runner who can push offensively and defensively as the link-up man, like what Kane Lambert did, as alluding to Caesar's point. It's a role that we've missed a lot since Kane Lambert hung up the boots. I think Seth's got the wheels to do that. I think it's a really good progressive movement from his forward line work, and it would get him in and amongst the game more. And I think I said this a few times last year, but if we can get Seth Campbell to be a 20 to 25 disposal player, that is going to be massive for the Richmond Football Club. So this could be a way to do it. So I'm liking what I'm hearing with that one. Sam Lawler has done plenty in the off-season, did full ball work and everything on Monday. Today was a combination of ball work, then breaking off to work on his running capacity, and then some individual tutelage from Luke Bruce. How good's that? Luke Bruce teaching Sam Lawler. What a win that's going to be. Caleb Smith definitely bulked up. He definitely has. Tom Brown. So Caesar is a huge fan of Tom Brown, as I think we all are, to be honest. I don't think anyone should be alone in that. I think we all love what Tom Brown can do. If you watch him train, he looks like a star halfback of the competition. Obviously, he hasn't been in terms of in actuality of the competition, but he could be. Caesar says he's been a long time proponent of a defender of Tom Brown, one of the few elite visionaries and disposers we have. Agree. Early doors, he is running more off half-back and receiving possession from teammates. But Banks and Shorty aren't out there at the moment, so Brown's the outlet. Okay. Seems bigger across the shoulders too. Interesting. In his first pre-season, having come back from not having a shoulder issue, so he can handle a few more weights. I like that he's receiving the ball from teammates. It is a good point, though, with Banks and Shorty not out there. But I think you need to get to a point. You look at Gold Coast, for example, and they've got Rioli and Noble as two very usable outlets from halfback. That's the standard. That's what you need to get to. So if it's Banks and Brown that are the outlets used evenly, that creates unpredictability for opposition. It creates multiple avenues of attack for us. And we've said it a long time, but Brown is a beautiful kick of the ball. So the more times we can get the ball in his hand, the better. I felt last year his disposal numbers were down quite a bit. He was defending well and marking well, but we absolutely must get the ball into his hand a lot more. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come. Luke Bruce, love. He's a ripper. He had the small forwards lapping up every word. I've never seen them more engaged ever. It's good. I think they know full well they will be learning from the best. And of interest, Harry Scott's been out there training with the boys too, on the back of him re-signing with the VFL team. So that is good to see. And that was about it for a training wrap-up from Caesar from Wednesday and Friday. So again, another shout-out to Caesar. Does amazing work. It keeps all the Tiger faithful very, very well informed about all things training. And it's an exciting time. I know it's only early days, but the Tiger Cubs, as Campbell Gray said today in his interview, it's their time to set the standard. It's their time to push the direction of the club. They can set all of this before the older guys come back, so they just sort of slot in and not go with the flow, but they sort of help driving the standards already being raised and set by the young kids. So it's good to see them getting stuck into it early. I think we've got a much more, I suppose, experienced coaching staff in football terms, not experienced in coaching. But like Luke Bruce, Taylor Duray, people like that are going to add so much value to this mix. Having just come from the game, they'll know so much more about the ins and outs and be able to pass on some really good words of wisdom. So I think we are going to be in a better place. And if you couple all of that with the point at the very start of this video about training like you're all in, just going all out on the training track and leaving nothing out there, playing as fast as you can, I think it sounds like a good recipe for a nice looking Richmond in 2026. But let us know what you think in the comments below. Are you happy with the all-in mentality? What do you expect to see as a result of that? Any extra thoughts on the training side of things? Yeah, good to hear it's all going well so far. So let us know what you think, and make sure you like and subscribe for more Richmond content. And until the next one, go Tigers.